intro, who dis? Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing the opening scene to Better Call Saul Season 6 Episode 1, which is a Breaking Bad flash forward. Warning spoilers for Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul up to Season 6 Episode 1. And wow, it's wild to say that. I've been saying Season 5 finale for almost 2 years now. Season 6 is here, get hyped. Like the video if you enjoy what you see, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already, because there's a ton of Season 6 breakdowns and discussions to come. Also check out my Twitter where I post instant Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul updates, and thanks to everyone who joined me for live tweeting the Season 6 premiere. With that all being said, let's jump right into the video. So as you know, the first scene of a Better Call Saul season premiere has always been a Gene scene, but this time they threw us for a loop and don't give us one. To be honest, I had the fact that we wouldn't get a Gene scene for episode 601 spoiled for me due to people repeating what critics said who got to see the first 2 episodes early, so I was a bit disappointed at the idea of no Gene scene going into the season. The show creators quickly turned my frown upside down, because although we didn't get a Gene scene, they gave us an amazing Breaking Bad flash forward scene to make up for it, and wow, just wow. The last time we got a Breaking Bad flash forward scene was in Better Call Saul episode 405, so this is a huge deal. I'm almost glad they did this because I know they're gonna show more Gene by the end of season 6, and now we have another amazing Breaking Bad flash forward blessed us. As some of you may have seen on my Twitter, I was already freaking out only having watched the first scene into season 6, so let's discuss why. Episode 601 starts out in black and white, showing a bunch of Saul Goodman's ties being thrown down into a pile. As the ties get thrown down, they suddenly start getting shown in color. Since the Gene scenes have always been in black and white, with the only color we've ever seen in the Gene scenes being Saul Goodman's commercials being reflected off of Gene's glasses way back in episode 101, we've been predicting that eventually color will return to Gene's life eventually. Although this is true and I still predict that, I do believe that we'll see this happen in a future Gene scene as Gene reverts back to Saul Goodman, and this colorization of the ties are a misdirect. We then see a bunch of people packing up some crazy mansion, and it's revealed that one of these people are throwing all of those ties into a box. If it wasn't already obvious yet, throughout the rest of the cold open for episode 601, we get more and more evidence thrown at us that Saul Goodman used to live here. All cards out on the table, this was Saul Goodman's house during Breaking Bad, now being packed up due to Saul skipping town and changing his identity to Gene. When I first realized this, my jaw dropped more than I thought possible. The thing is, during Breaking Bad, we only ever saw Saul Goodman with his clients mainly in his office or in other locations such as the car wash. We never actually saw Saul Goodman's private life outside of work, let alone his home. Saul Goodman lived in a freaking mansion. This house is over the top pimped out, as Saul Goodman's lifestyle has completely engulfed Jimmy McGill by this point. It's good to see that at least somebody in the Breaking Bad universe used their mass amounts of ill-gotten gains to live lavishly. As the camera pans through this mansion for a whopping 6 minutes, we get more and more clues that this was Saul's Breaking Bad house, along with just his lifestyle in general. There are so many Easter eggs, which I'm going to attempt to point out and discuss. The thing is, I'm only one person, right? I don't have a team of employees working around the clock analyzing every single video frame for each object and little detail. It's just me, sitting here alone at my computer desk. There's so much in this cold open that no matter how many times I notice and point things out, I'm sure there's still a handful of things that I haven't realized yet. I will admit that I had a few viewers point some things out to me on Twitter, so thanks to all of you for that, and I will give credit where it's due when we discuss these items. That being said, let's break down and discuss everything I've noticed since the episode premiered yesterday. After we get a man throwing the ties away, we see a woman taking down a painting, following the camera into a big walk-in closet as someone else is packing up all of Saul's colorful dress shirts. And in this walk-in closet, we get a few Better Call Saul Easter eggs, first showing the sneakers that Jimmy gave to Irene in season 3. And if you're asking how Saul had these shoes when he gave them to Irene, in season 3 it was revealed that he had a trunk full of these shoes in every size, just to make sure that he had the correct size to give her. We also see a baseball cap next to a pair of these shoes, which is the hat that Jimmy wore in his first ever Saul Goodman commercial that he made to fill ad spots. Someone walks towards a mirror, opening it to reveal a secret room behind it. This appears to be a safe room, somewhere that Saul could hide if people looking for him broke into his house. I say this because not only do we see a ton of electronics with a TV screen, looking like he could watch video surveillance of the property, but there's also even a toilet in there, in case he had to hide for a long time. If there's anything else you can spot from this secret safe room, let me know in the comments. Someone walks out of the secret room with something that looks like a bulletproof vest. We then cut to the bathroom, showing a pile of prescription pill bottles. I apologize in advance for mispronouncing any of these. We first see minoxidil, which is for hair loss. Makes sense considering Saul in Breaking Bad has even less hair than Jimmy in Better Call Saul, with Gene balding even more so. There's Numilofor, which isn't even real. If it's referencing something that's real, let me know in the comments. From a tweet I saw talking about this, apparently there was a commercial for this in Better Call Saul. There's spironolactone, which is for high blood pressure, which is interesting considering not only have we had references to Saul and Gene having blood pressure / heart issues, but it's eerily unintentionally related to Bob Odenkirk actually having a heart attack while filming season 6. There's also finasteride, which is for benign prostate hyperplasia, also called prostate gland enlargement, which is apparently common as men get older, causing bladder, urinary tract, or kidney problems as it blocks the flow of urine out of the bladder. As someone who has personally had surgery for multiple kidney stone removals in the past, this one makes me a little bit queasy just thinking about it. If you can read any of the other pill bottles, let me know. Interestingly, these prescription pills are prescribed for Saul Goodman, not Jimmy McGill. Does Jimmy officially change his name to Saul Goodman at some point, or does he just really use his alias that much? I know that he started practicing law under Saul Goodman at the start of season 5, but he didn't change his name legally, at least at that point. So does he eventually? Although he calls himself Saul Goodman to the public eye, you'd think that these pills would still be made out to Jimmy legally. And then as we see people throwing out clothes into the trash, we see the camera zoom in on a bathtub, which has a pink bra on the faucet. This is huge because whose bra is this? There's two possibilities. One possibility is that Saul becomes so jaded to his life that whenever he has ladies over, he can only get it up from Viagra, which we saw on the counter next to all those pill bottles. The other possibility is that this is Kim's bra, and that she lived with him during Breaking Bad. The Viagra could be unrelated, and that Saul just has that lying around as well, just in case. This is where I'd wink if I had a face cam. Now after someone throws the pink bra into the trash, the camera pans up to a literal gold toilet surrounded by jewels, which I kinda love. This is the epitome of pretentious, braggadocious wealth. This shows that even if Jimmy didn't need nice flashy things, his Saul Goodman persona has taken him over so much to the point that he lives braggadociously even in private. I mean, when you're making as much money as he did, why not, right? We then see H.G. Wells' book called The Time Machine. Now I gotta be fully transparent here, I haven't read the book or even seen the movie. I'm a huge pop culture buff, but I haven't seen everything ever released, and you know, Better Call Saul makes me feel like I'm missing out here. This not only appears here, but also appears in episode 602 during the Better Call Saul timeline when Jimmy gets the call from the Kettlemans late at night freaking out. This means that Jimmy kept this book the whole time into Breaking Bad. Now from a brief glance to the plot to The Time Machine, the main character escapes a house fire, but his love interest and antagonist die in the fire. Could this be referencing a Jimmy losing Kim along with people such as Howard? This definitely makes me want to read the book, or at least watch the 2004 movie that was based off of the book. For those of you that have read the book or watched the movie, give me your full synopsis and opinions in the comments below. We then see a Saul Goodman cutout floating in a pool, which was from the season 6 trailer, and more on this in a moment. We cut to Saul's Breaking Bad Cadillac DeVille being towed out, and on the license plate we can kinda barely see a date that might imply this all happens right after Breaking Bad ends. To be honest, honest, I assume that this flash forward happens right after the events of Breaking Bad Season 5, but before the Gene scenes, and the timeline confirmation is always nice. That being said, this is really blurry. This is also foreshadowing to Jimmy getting the Saul Goodman Cadillac DeVille at some point during Better Call Saul Season 6, along with Kim also foreshadowing this, saying that Saul Goodman should drive something with a little more flair. There's a woman that briefly carries out a guitar, and that guitar is the same guitar that Jimmy got in Season 3 Episode 8 after conning the musical store in the episodes Slip and Fall. One person hands another a notebook full of notes in a secret code. If anyone knows what this code is, or if it's an original code that you can somehow break down the alphabet to, definitely let me know in both the comments and on Twitter, as I'm more likely to see it there. But also in the shot of the notebook, we see some TY plushies reminding me of the plushies that Saul would bribe the courtroom receptionist with in the first few seasons of Better Call Saul, along with apparently later in Season 6 due to the trailers. The notebook and a plushie get thrown in a box, and is that bingo balls I see also in the box? And we also see a photo of a horse, which is obviously from when Saul screwed over Mesa Verde in Season 5. We also see a full rack of clothes being pushed out on wheels, and is this Saul Goodman's clothes, or could this be Kim Wexler's clothes, considering the pattern of the first top? Also, as they wheel these clothes out, someone walks past them with what looks like a bag of bingo balls, referencing the first season where Jimmy worked bingo for the elders. Outside the house, we see a huge Saul Goodman and Associates sign. This wasn't attached to Saul's Breaking Bad office, so did he really plaster this on his house, or was this just like in the garage or something? You'd think that he'd want to keep his house at least somewhat private. Now, circling back to the Saul Goodman cutout we saw floating in the pool, outside the house we see someone throwing it into a big dumpster. This is both metaphorical and literal. The symbolism in Better Call Saul is next level. As someone pulls a dresser into a moving truck, Kim's iconic tequila bottle stopper falls out and lands on the street, which the camera zooms in on to end the scene. So my final question, and it's a big one that I've kind of already mentioned, did Kim live here with Jimmy, or did he just keep things of her for remembrance sake? If Kim did live with Jimmy, this means that she could have went into hiding via Ed the Disappear, as long as she survived. If that's the case, the only question I have is, why didn't we see her in Granite State with Jimmy before he got relocated? Now, obviously Kim's character didn't exist in Breaking Bad, so they'll have to do some retconning here, so they couldn't have known to include her, but for continuity's sake, what's the reason? Did she get relocated before Saul, maybe while he was busy salvaging what was left of his office in the Better Call Saul 405 flash forward? And during this entire scene of Saul Goodman's house, the music that plays is an instrumental of Wine and Roses, and I already broke down Wine and Roses in one of my trailer breakdowns, so instead of repeating myself, I'm just gonna include a clip here. So I looked up the Days of Wine and Roses movie, which is from 1962, and it's a movie about a guy named Joe who meets a girl named Kirsten and gets her into drinking alcohol. Kirsten is reluctant at first, but eventually gives in and becomes an alcoholic alongside him. They both ruin their lives in various ways due to alcohol and decide to get clean. After getting sent away to a sanitarium, Joe manages to get sober, but Kirsten not so much. Joe tries to help her, but ends up getting sent back to the sanitarium for trying to steal a bottle of alcohol for her. After getting released a second time, Joe becomes sober for good, but is accused by his family for being responsible for Kirsten's alcoholism. Kirsten eventually returns to Joe and their kid, apparently they have a kid, asking to get back together, but Joe tells Kirsten only if she quits drinking. The movie ends with Joe and Kirsten separating due to her alcoholism, with Joe and their child wondering if Kirsten will ever get better. And well, that's it for my Better Call Saul Season 6 intro scene breakdown. I tried to break down as many details as I could, but as I said earlier, if there's anything that I've missed, please mention it in the comments, along with on Twitter, as I'm, more likely to see it there. Speaking of Twitter, I mentioned this at the beginning, but thank you to all of you who live tweeted the show with me while the double premiere was airing. It was really a lot of fun, and I think I'm gonna do it with every episode from now on. And to the rest of you, get ready for more Season 6 breakdowns leading up to episode 603 next week, as there's a lot to discuss still. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything that I've said today. If you're new to the channel or just haven't yet already, subscribe and hit the bell notification to stay updated on when I post new content on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out!